Karl-Anthony Towns has spoken out on his role with the New York Knicks, and also head coach Tom Thibodeau has gotten some serious praise from his former boss in Bucks head coach Doc Rivers, and we are going to break this all down. So what's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and real quick, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We noticed 27% of viewers are subscribed who are watching this right now. Let's get those numbers up, guys. It really does help the channel out a bunch. But let's jump into it, guys, because Karl-Anthony Towns, the newest superstar in New York, has revealed the truth on the role that he plays with the New York Knicks, and the fact that it is much different from what he's been doing in Minnesota over the last few years. As when the New York Knicks acquired Karl-Anthony Towns, one of the motivations for this move was that they were going to be missing Mitchell Robinson for the foreseeable future with an injury. The Knicks brought in Towns, trading out Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. Meanwhile, Randle's had a great season, and DiVincenzo has had a far from great season, honestly, but he'll probably get it together. He's a great player. And Towns got thrown back into playing center after 2 years of playing less than 5% of his minutes at the center position because of his teammates being Rudy Gobert and also Naz Reid, the sixth man of the year. Towns got to play a lot of the power forward positions, somewhere that he was comfortable with. It led to him shooting more threes. He's one of the most talented three-point shooting big men in NBA history. Out of guys who are 7 feet or taller, it's pretty clear Kevin Durant's the GOAT of shooting at 7 feet plus. But Karl-Anthony Towns is just up there with anyone in history. I mean, the man at the end of his career might have an argument as the best three-point shooting center of all time. I honestly don't even know if it's going to be an argument. I think he might just have that done. And Towns spoke out on what it's like to be playing center once again with the New York Knicks. Now, Towns said, "I don't just lose the ability to play the 5. Just being able to do what I did a lot of years at the 5, I feel I'm a better version of myself. I'm smarter, more experienced. I think I'm more talented than I've ever been. So being able to utilize that for our team is what I want to do every single night so it can translate to wins." Karl-Anthony Towns has been evidently clear on one thing. The man wants to win. He wants to win in New York. He's from the area. His dad is a diehard Knicks fan, so he's probably thrilled he gets to be a Knicks fan again. And Towns has been active that whatever role it takes for him to win, he's down to do. Whether it's playing the power forward, whether it's playing center, whatever works for the New York Knicks works for Karl-Anthony Towns. Now, one thing's becoming clear. He should probably be a power forward in the long run. But as of right now, he's playing the center position, and he has been a phenomenal player for the New York Knicks. There's an argument that he's been the best player on the team through the first 9 games of the season. I understand Jalen Brunson's the best player on the Knicks. Throughout the first 9 games, Towns has been the best player. That'll go back to normal. Just saying. Just wanted to throw that in there because it's absolutely true. But also, Jalen Brunson and, well, not Jalen Brunson, but Karl-Anthony Towns said this about Jalen Brunson. I just had a bit of a technical difficulty right there, I'm now learning. But Towns mentioned, yeah, it starts with the captain. He puts us in positions to succeed. The gravity he was making with his talent, putting us all in spots to succeed. He put me in spots to utilize my talent. So shout out to Cap and all of us. Together, we're doing what we need to do to win the game. Now, here's the thing. Jalen Brunson's getting the respect he deserves from his teammates, whether it's Karl-Anthony Towns, whether it's literally anyone else on the roster. Everyone knows what this team runs on. It's Jalen Brunson, and that's never going to change. Here's the thing. The New York Knicks aren't winning games, and that's not Brunson's fault. It's not Karl-Anthony Towns' fault. It's the entire Knicks' fault. Brunson at times has gotten tunnel vision at the ends of games. Mikal Bridges has been sort of up and down. OG Anunoby rocks. He's A+. Karl-Anthony Towns has been good, but his defense at the rim is straight up atrocious. Tom Thibodeau has not coached his best season thus far, 9 games in. This is not the first time Knicks fans have had gripes with Tom Thibodeau early on in the season. I, in fact, did last year. You could go back to the videos a year ago. I was probably complaining about Tom Thibodeau. Now, all this being said, wow, the Knicks roster was different last year. All this being said, I do think the New York Knicks are going to be fine. It seems like they're going to be fine, and that this 1-2 punch of Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson is going to work out. They look good so far together. I mean, Towns is putting up 25 points per game with 12 rebounds and 2 assists. shooting 53% from three. Don't know how that's possible, and 53% from the field with it. He's been great. He's not turning the ball over too much. I mean, he's getting a block per game, but his defense has not been good. He's still getting into a bit of foul trouble, which he has to fix and hasn't yet, so I kind of don't know if he'll ever fix it. But Jalen Brunson has been also equally as phenomenal. The man's putting up 25 points per game, 6.5 assists, running the show with the New York Knicks. I'd like to see a bit more of his shots come from behind the arc, but also he's Jalen Brunson. I'm not going to tell him how to live his life. The man is one of the better players in New York Knicks history already, and he's probably only going to get better this season because he did start the first week and a half of the season a little bit slow, but now he's shooting nearly 42% from three, shooting 47.5% from the field. Jalen Brunson looks phenomenal. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We all know who Jalen Brunson is as a player, and that once things kind of get together for the New York Knicks, they are going to get better. And I mean, Doc Rivers, former head coach of the Boston Celtics and Los Angeles Clippers and Philadelphia 76ers and current head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, he was hyping up his former assistant Tom Thibodeau when Doc Rivers was the head coach on the on the Celtics championship team in 2008. Tom Thibodeau was on that coaching staff, and Rivers is a big fan of how Thibodeau coaches and fully believes that Tibbs is going to get it together. Rivers spoke out on this regarding Tom Thibodeau, and let's take a look at what he had to say, because it is very interesting. It's very, very uprising stuff for a guy who obviously knows Tibbs well and is friends with him. As he said, I know the Knicks coach and that he's going to get it all together. I know the Knicks coach, and I know that he's going to get it all together. I kind of messed that one up. I'm sure of that. Tom's a phenomenal coach, and they made changes. They made changes to their core guys, and you don't just... Chemistry is an amazing thing. They had it last year, and they'll get it back. You don't just wake up and have it. It takes time. It'll come from them. I guarantee it. I fully agree with what Doc Rivers is saying. I know Doc Rivers has kind of been on the hot seat because people think that he's not as good of a coach as he's been led on to be throughout his history. But here's the one thing that we do know to be true about Doc Rivers. He knows Tom Thibodeau, and the man, he's not some basketball imbecile. It's not why he keeps getting jobs. Look, Doc Rivers knows what he's talking about on this front. Chemistry takes a while. This guy coached a team that was terrible and then traded for traded for Kevin Garnett. Of course, the one name I say out of that big three is Paul Pierce. They trade for Kevin Garnett. They trade for Ray Allen. They had to adjust, and they went from a terrible record to winning the NBA Finals and going to another NBA Finals in 2010. Doc knows that chemistry takes time, especially when you are the New York Knicks. You have a lot of new guys on the team. It's going to take a bit for Tom Thibodeau and co. to get this thing right. But here's the thing. We know they are going to get this thing right. Now, Tibbs himself has spoken out on it, and at points he's been more confident than others. And he's clearly frustrated by the way the New York Knicks have been playing, saying, we have to look at the scheme. We got to look at the matchup. We got to look at a lot of things and awareness. If we understand that a guy hits a three, the next time down, they're searching for him. Have that awareness of what's going on in the game. We gave up too much. If we don't challenge shots, they're going to make too big of a discrepancy from the three-point line. They made 21, talking about the Pacers game, while we made 7. That's a problem. We've got to fix it, and we've got to fix it fast. You have to understand the math of the game in terms of if someone's making 23s and you're making 10, it's going to be pretty hard to win that game, which is absolutely true. The New York Knicks have built a team that should be one of the best three-point shooting teams in the league. And look, they are. They're shooting 39.5% from three, tied with the Golden State Warriors, who just so happen to have Steph Curry and Buddy Hield in their backcourt. Meanwhile, the only two teams shooting better than them are the Denver Nuggets and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Here's the problem with this. The Knicks are 9th in three-point attempts this season. Their pace is slow, and it's leading to less three-point attempts. And when you look at all the teams in the bottom 10 of three-point attempts on the season, the New York Knicks are the only team to be making over 13 threes in the bottom 10. They can shoot. Everyone knows they can shoot. The problem is they're not shooting threes. Thibodeau talked a bit about the whole, well, the name of the game is if you get open layups. It shouldn't just all be threes, and he's right. But also when you have a team of Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Karl-Anthony Towns, Josh Hart, guess what? You should be shooting more threes. It's just what has to happen for the New York Knicks, and there's frankly no way around it. They're also letting up too many open threes because they're afraid of Towns having to be challenged at the rim since it hasn't been going well, and that's something the Knicks are also going to have to figure out a way how to fix. But look, I do believe Doc Rivers. I agree with him fully. I think the New York Knicks are going to get this thing together sooner rather than later, and we're going to see the team come back and look phenomenal. They are still one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. It's just taking a second. They're dealing with some injuries, which isn't helping. But the real problem is that Tibbs is overplaying the guys. He needs to start digging deeper into the bench, using these rookies. Tyler Kolek has the highest three-point percentage of any single NBA player who's taken more than 2 threes this season. You got to use him. You got to use Ariel Hukporti. Y'all know what's coming. I mean, come on. He's doing this on Evan Mobley. Use the man. Let him play. Use Matt Ryan. Use the tools that you still have in the toolbox. Don't neglect them just because you don't fully trust them yet. That's not the move. Make them earn your trust on the court. But also, Tibbs is a great coach. He's been great for the New York Knicks. There's a reason why he was the front runner to win Coach of the Year this season. As of right now, that's certainly not going to happen, though. Guys, let me know what you think down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day, and go Knicks.